Okay, so I am showing you eMoods Enterprise. It is a beta version. I've been working with the developer to establish a practice run mood tracker, and I have two patients that are using the eMoods app, and each one has customizable mood tracking variables. It can be moods, it can be habits, it can be medication adherence, anything and everything. It's completely customizable. This is the dashboard for that the provider would use, and here I'm the primary provider here, and they could have other providers in the practice as well. Collaborators on PTSD and Polar Warrior would include myself as well as the LCSW extraordinaire. So I'd like to show you, what it looks like from my point of view. If I can look at, let's say, PTSD at a glance. This is just, okay, I'm getting ready to see PTSD, and I haven't had a chance to look at all of the details, but I want to just get a gander at how PTSD is doing before I meet with him in his appointment. So I can see, there's some depression here, no elevated mood, some irritability, some anxiety more recently. It looks like this October 5th was a pretty rough day. We're kind of wondering what happened on that day, but hypervigilance seems to be pretty significant. Um, how's the appetite, nightmares? This seems to be pretty, they're like no appetite, poor or presence of nightmares, hours of sleep. And drinking. This is one of the variables that PTSD chose to measure, and then medication adherence. So let's go to the calendar view so I can go in and see specifics. So if I had chosen to go ahead and go through all of the days, and here I made this blue pop out comment box is where I can add a note. Let's see, hold on a second. I can either add a note and this is I created a note. This is the you go click up here and then you can create a note. On this day, I had nightmares, can't eat well. I miss my kids, I miss Julie, my wife. Feel so alone. They deserve better. I'm starting to note the depression and note these kinds of thoughts. And you can write to the patient or to the case manager. So I wrote to the case manager, please call the patient about SI. And on the next day, I wrote to the patient, which, I keep having more nightmares. I'm going to be seeing my nurse practitioner tomorrow. I had trazodone, got restless legs when I doubled the dose. I hurt, I can't eat well. That basically sounds like panic attacks and symptoms. So I wrote to the patient, I look forward to seeing you. Please weigh yourself as I'm concerned about your appetite. Call the office or 911 if you do not feel safe or feel impulsive. And let's look at your meds because I think we can make some changes that'll help you, offering a little bit of hope. But here's one of my critiques of using something, an app like this, is that somebody could write all sorts of suicidal ideations and ultimately commit suicide, and is it is there liability for the practitioner because we don't necessarily read all of the notes every day because we if maybe we had 5 patients we could, but we obviously can't do that. So there would have to be some sort of expectation setting and legal liability release. So this is PTSD. I want to show you from the collaborator's point of view that the LCSW, what they see. So this is the LCSW extraordinaire's view. And so there's a note here under PTSD. And so I view the note, and this is where I had said, please call the patient to ask about SI, will do. And, I'd say submit, but I'm not going to here. And they can do the same, seeing all of the comments and everything that you can see. So I want to show you Polar Warrior, a different patient. And note that I'm logged in as Polar Warrior. And this is the dashboard. The dashboard shows this is at a week at a time. And I didn't have anything for November, and so depressed, you can look at elevated or depressed moods. This is per week, and then it can look at daylight, lunar cycles, and weather, and see if there's any relationship with moods here. So it's kind of a interesting little feature here. From the individual person here, let's say Sunday, November 14th, I want to log my hours of sleep. Oh, that's not supposed to happen. Okay, whatever. That was just a little hiccup because I'm recording, I think. Maybe a little depression, moderate, not really irritable, some anxiety. Do I have psychotic symptoms? No. Did I get some therapy today? Yes, I did. Not having racing thoughts. No longer hyperactive versus hypersexual. I'm fine. Did I have restlessness? I could skip today. So that's kind of a cool little feature. You can also add, a custom tracking point, which, might be something to the effect of went to bed on time, because this person has a hard, is trying to get a habit, yes or no choice. So then you can save that, and you can have a new point to track. So that's exciting. I had changed this to reflect 10 milligrams earlier, but so it can do a time note, here's how I'm doing. And you can also add okay, do another note through the day. Here's another note. And that was at 142. So if your moods are variable through the day, like if they're having rapid cycling, or maybe maybe you're dealing with borderline patients and they're up, they're down, they're all around, you could just, help the patient become more mindful of their moods, as well as for our perspective as well. So I want to go to the calendar view, which gives you the broad brush stroke, and I had made a comment. So this, I had started them on an antidepressant in the beginning, and then I watched how they responded to it. Actually, let me get out of that. Go to here. So I had watched how they responded to it. So they were real depressed. They felt better, elevated mood picked up after they stopped feeling depressed, became more irritable, anxiety is pretty stable, racing thoughts picked up, and fatigue, they gradually became more energetic, which means you could look at how your medication response was, and it wasn't very good. Looks like you flipped them into hypomania, or potentially even mania. Look at this sleep schedule. They're not needing much sleep, and this has been over the course of several days, and they were adherent to their medication. So, if I saw any of that, and I thought, oh, geez, I looked at it, on this day and go, oh no, this doesn't look too good. People are dumb. I could have started this company. Or they'd be, they're lucky to have me. Kind of grandiosity, being more productive, and I have all these ideas. I think I should go on a trip. I'm going to buy a ticket to Hawaii, but I am going to find a date to go with me. Okay, so impulsivity and maybe some hypersexuality going on. And I say, to the patient, can you give me a call? I'd like to check up with you. You seem to be getting less sleep and more irritable, which could be a side effect of the med. So that's kind of how we can do some med management, which is definitely a pro. So this is still in the patient's settings, how to customize reminders. You can have, you can say, remind me to I want to have a push notification via text or email, every day at 12 to remind me to log how I'm doing. You can auto check the meds, or you can manually decide that, I've took my meds or I didn't take my meds. You can, if you want to track your weight, that's fine. But again, you can, add customizable tracking points, and these are the ones that are automatically with the classic. That is, you don't pay for. All of these are available. You can do menstrual cycle, weight, stuff like that. So that is that. And you can download and send. So if you didn't want to do the enterprise level, and like what I'm doing now with patients is I'm having them download the classic, which is just your basic platform. If they want to pay for the pro features, which allows them to have customizable tracking features, then they can. And they send me a PDF every week, or whatever time frame that that I've asked them to, or that works for them. And they send me this readout, which includes, all the features, all of the variables they're tracking, and all of their comments, and how they've been doing. And so I can, week by week glance and see how they're doing, if I've changed their meds, how they're responding. And so that I have found to be a very helpful aspect, where I didn't need to do the eMoods enterprise level as a business, which would be back to my provider dashboard, which is here, where I have all my patients. But it is nice because you can work with teammates, you can communicate back and forth with the patient, with your interprofessional collaborating team. There's a lot of dynamic capability, but it's only as good as the patient's participation level, as well as the provider's willingness to use it as a tool, and how to use it appropriately, and not to make everything about the app, but use it as a, hey, I've noticed this, or let's see how you help them to find trends, depending on their level of education. So that's eMoods Enterprise.